Roll call, Supervisor Kroll said that she would be a few minutes late. I do not know what, an exact number, so if she said she will be here. Supervisor Haskell has to be excused and Supervisor Mastelier has to be excused. I would look for a motion to approve the agenda which you have before you.
Motion.
Motion by Supervisor Luke, second by Supervisor Yonke. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Would look for a motion for approval of the October 2nd minutes. Supervisor Augustine, second by Supervisor Poppy. Any discussion and or corrections of those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Public comment. Do I have anybody who wishes to speak to the committee? Anyone wish to speak? Yes.
Sue Weiser from the town of West Kewaunee. I apologize. Two words that seem to evade some people. Also, emails sent to the leader and members of the Kewaunee County Board go without reply, even when a reply is requested. You must have an ethics policy you work with. 20 years as a public official, appointed to numerous committees, educated me pretty fast. When you're in public office, the accountability level of your actions takes a dramatic jump up. You're on 24/7, watching your P's and Q's and dotting your I's and T's. You're in the political arena. Anything you say or do can be used for or against you. And if you make a statement, conduct any business, you have to make sure you can back it up with solid evidence. At the May Land and Water Committee meeting in 2023, the chairman of this committee made a false statement, a lie in layman's terms. He claimed without evidence that he had sent an email in response to a constituent's question. An open record search indicated no email was sent from his county email account. Am I being interrupted or?
Sorry, we're having trouble here with, they had it closed and wanted to make sure that we're in compliance with open, meeting laws. Sorry, go ahead.
He claimed without evidence that he had sent an email in response to a constituent's question. An open record search indicated no email was sent from his county email account. The constituent has continued asking him for his apology for the past 6 months. The Land and Water Committee chairman made a mistake and should own up to it. Silence and delay only casts more doubt on his credibility and ability to lead. I request that this matter become a December 2023 agenda item for the executive committee, or refer the matter to the county board's December agenda. It could be a closed session or move to censure. I await your reply for these comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak to the committee? Does anyone wish to speak? All right. We will move on to item 6, consider recommendation from interview subcommittee contract with Public Administration Associates, LLC, search for county administrator applicants. You want to take that, Ed, or you want me to give an intro? Basically what it comes down.
John?
I'm on, yes.
Okay. We're just going to take up the recommendation to contract, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so basically what it comes down to is the interview subcommittee kind of went through the process. We did have an individual that we did basically offer the position to, that would have met all of the criteria of the committee. However, he withdrew. So Is that accurate, Ed? I mean,
Yes.
basically,
And the
that's, if
final
you
already
want to add
given
anything.
through his application, so basically we're heading back to the drawing board on this, so. The committee, subcommittee is recommending to actually contract now to have this work done by a firm called Public Administration Associates. And John Hokumer is on the Zoom call with us. He's more, if the contract is approved by the committee, he's more here to go through the process with you and how that all works. So
So how do you want us to proceed, Ed? Should we have him make comments or proceed with a motion to approve? Or, well, let's have a motion, and then if there's questions of him, we can take it that way. Do I have a motion to approve the contract that you had, you should have received those details?
I'll make the motion.
Supervisor Poppy makes a motion to approve the contract with the PAA. There's a second. Supervisor Crowe. Now discussion of the motion. They did receive copies ahead of time, correct?
they did not.
They did not.
This is just the timetable, it's not the contract itself.
Okay, so basically what we're doing then is, what was the amount, Ed? We should probably, or not probably, I would ask, I think I would ask to have that motion withdrawn and then have a more specific, motion for the amount.
The amount that would be included in the contract is at a maximum of 19,300. There are some opportunities for us to draw that down by doing meetings like this, Zoom meetings versus in-person meetings and things like that. So there's an opportunity to bring it down to about, I think, 17,800. The proposal that we're talking about here was made in August. So they've lived up to the quotation they gave us back in August. We had asked for proposals from two firms. This one came in at 19,300. The other one was 24,500.
Okay, what was can you read the motion back to the,
Motion to consider recommendation from interview subcommittee to contract with Public Administration Associates LLC to search for county administrator applicants.
okay, that motion will work.
Well, the reason I made that motion was basically I sat on the interview committee and seen the process and we need to move forward on it. So if I need to withdraw it, I will. I apologize, but
Well, I think that motion works. I mean,
a moment of the contract should be in there. Yes, absolutely.
so you wanna simply add that to, can he add that? We could just add that to the motion in the amount of, if you wanted to add that.
Yes.
And
please.
19,300.
Yes. I think we could have it. Do you support that, Supervisor Kroll?
Yes.
Okay.
That is not to exceed, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Less is better.
Yep. I hear you.
All right. Okay, so questions on this discussion of the motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Yes, please.
just a couple things. First of all, thank you for having me participate in the meeting this evening. I've known Ed for a long time, and
Do you mind if I do my little intro? If you
sure, go ahead, Ed.
I was kind of waiting until we got to the other piece, but John Hokumer is with the PAA. I've known John for a long time. John used to be the county board chairman down in Manitowoc County. John has worked for the WCA. He's worked for the County Mutual Insurance Corporation and a number of other places. I think you've been on city council or village board and those kind of things down in the Madison area. So John is very familiar with county government, with local government. So he's a good resource for us to have here. He also plays sheep pet.
All right, go ahead, John.
Sure. Thanks for that, Ed. Yeah, little did I know that a dairy farmer, dairy and beef operator from Manitowoc County would go on to do the things that I did for the last 40 some years. I did, as Ed indicated, I was county board chair in Manitowoc. I went to work for WCA in late 1991 as a lobbyist, worked there for a couple years. Then I was sergeant at arms for the state senate for almost 9 years. And then I finished my career back at WCA, from running the insurance programs to being the lead lobbyist. In the last 8 years or so, I started up a new program on outreach and training. So I traveled around the state and did that. I also, when I moved to Verona, Wisconsin, I was bored. I didn't have enough work to do. So I told my wife I was going to start a business milking cows on weekends. And she said, "No, you're not." So I needed to find something else to do. I ran for the city council, served 21 years on the Verona City Council and 12 years as mayor until I retired in 2018. My passion is for local government, and I really love I love county government as my favorite level of government, and that's why when Dave Brettel, the former county administrator from Walworth County, asked me to help out with recruitments, I jumped on that opportunity. And so I'm been retired from WCA since February of 2020. But for the last 2 years now, I've been involved in recruitments. I try and stick with just county recruitments. However, I just finished one in the northern part of Illinois as well. I think, as you could probably tell from your trial with the recruitments, they're getting tougher and tougher to do. We're finding usually smaller pools of candidates, and we make a lot of cold calls. We take a look at people, especially people that may have left the state, that have experience in the state of Wisconsin and may have an interest in coming back. We take a look at counties that will go down someone who might be their number 2 or number 3 person behind the administrator, see if there's any interest. But again, the pools that we are seeing, the applicant pools are getting less and less. The other thing that we have noticed in the last 6 months or so is that starting salaries are going up. So that's one of the hurdles that we need to address as well. The reason I wanted to say something before you voted on going with PEA with the agreement is, as Ed indicated, we submitted this proposal, I think it was end of July, early part of August. Usually we have a 30-day time frame on there. PEA's prices have gone up since then, but we would hold to the 19.3, and there are other opportunities, as Ed indicated, to bring that price down. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and in the end, we want to do what's best for the county, because this is your recruitment. We're just helping you facilitate it. And we want to make sure that you're successful and that we are successful as well. In the agreement that we sent, and it's section 8, we talk about PAA's guarantee. PAA has always stood by that we will do a recruitment until it's finished. So if it's not successful and we have to do a second try or a third try, the only cost that there would be to the county would be to pay for the cost of the ads, to re-advertise. However, Dave Brettel and I spoke about this at length, and we're really concerned with the challenges of recruiting at this time of the year with Thanksgiving. And yes, deer hunting has an impact, and the Christmas holidays as well. Our suggestion, if you take a look at the schedule that we have put forward, and I can walk through that in a little bit, is that the deadline to apply would actually be after the first of the year. We don't believe that we can have a successful recruitment and have it done by Christmas time. So therefore, the only thing that we would say about the agreement is that if you decided to hire us, but you wanted the recruitment done by Christmas time, we feel that we have to pull section 8, the PAA guarantee, out of the proposal, because we just don't think that that's a realistic thing to do. It doesn't give us enough time to do what we need to do in the recruitments. And again, we feel very strongly about that, and I just wanted to point that out to you. Some of the other challenges, having a conversation with Ed the other day, is with an employment agreement. My understanding is that Mr. Felt did not have an employment agreement, and that the county wishes to remain with an at-will employee. You can do that. You can remain.
Oh, wait, that's not entirely correct. I mean, it is true, he did not have an employment agreement. Are you able to hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Yes.
I'm like a mile and a half away from the board here, but he did not have, he was an at-will employee. The county, you know, we would certainly like to do that, but we are open to contract.
Okay.
That's not necessarily a non-starter.
Okay.
Nothing
And
we
that,
want to consider.
okay. And that, Mr. Chairman, would be something that we would suggest that if you decide to hire PAA, to contract with PAA, is that at your next meeting, we would have a closed session. And that's where we would talk about salary range, employee contracts, and those types of things that are better done in closed session.
Okay. The challenge we have on the time frame, of course, is you know, we have an interim administrator, and we've already kept him around a long time, and we can't be without any administrator.
Correct. We understand that. So with and I can go into more detail after you take action, but if we want to talk a little bit about that timeline before you vote, what I was proposing in the schedule is that January 8th, the recruitment would close. We would provide a written report to the county back later that week. Then the week of January 15th to 19th, the committee would select their finalists. And then the following week, we could conduct the interviews. So that would be like the week of January 22nd through the 26th. Usually what we recommend is that if you have a final candidate and you're ready to pull the trigger on offering him or her that position, is that you call a special meeting of the county board. This is once you've made the offer and you've come to an initial agreement with that employee, then it needs to go to the county board for final approval. The reason we suggest that you call a special meeting for that, unless the timing works out where you would be having a county board meeting anyhow, is because sometimes you will see the candidates will second guess whether or not they really want to make the move. Or in another just very recent recruitment that we had, when the county heard that their individual was a finalist and could be offered the position, they immediately negotiated with her to keep her in the county without moving. So if that were all to happen, it could be the last week of January to the early part of February when you could have a candidate that has accepted the offer. And then typically it's a minimum of a 30-day notice. But I ran through that very quickly, and I'd like to talk about that more in detail if you decide to move forward with PAA.
Are there questions for John here at this time? Committee members? Okay. We're okay with that timeline?
I guess is Ed okay with it?
No. He's
The
already
end
said
of February is my
drop out
25th,
in
26th.
February. Now we can come up with some, Ed and I have talked about some things, but that's probably closed session. And probably closed session, some of the plans or some of the things that we could do after your departure in February.
Yes, and I think that would be appropriate tomorrow. We can talk about that.
But we could survive.
Do we have a copy of the proposed contract?
Yes. Actually, that's
So has it been reviewed by Corporation Council?
Well, I got an email a few minutes ago, and I looked through that, it refers to the proposal that it has right here, but I haven't looked through all the proposals, so I just. Take some time to look through that before
Should we?
advising you to approve, but.
So can we approve a contract that hasn't been reviewed by Corporation Council here tonight?
Have you seen the contract yet?
I haven't seen.
No.
No, they haven't.
Then I would, unless you know what you're approving, I would not approve something that you haven't seen yet.
We have,
But I haven't reviewed it full.
Can we have that contract, can we have that adequately reviewed so that it could be approved by tomorrow evening? Or no, time wise, could we get that done?
Right, well,
Posting
if
it
we're
all?
gonna, you're gonna hold a meeting, you're gonna have time issue. In 24 hours, you won't be able to do notice.
Hmm.
that you need.
Unless I drew the meeting up long enough. Put this on last.
But I can get everything. For you.
Huh?
I can review it at least tomorrow.
Well, we need to have it approved. And if we can't approve it until it's reviewed by Corporation Council. So. That's a challenge. So it needs to be adequately reviewed and then it needs to be brought before it needs to be approved. So what I'm going to come back to here is, I'm going to schedule
A question for corporate counsel, isn't there an emergency 12-hour?
Within 2 hours, but I don't know that this would qualify as an emergency.
This is not an emergency.
Okay, thank you.
What we should do is, can we have this adequately reviewed and have a special, executive committee meeting, Friday morning? And this has to be approved. If we, I mean, if we're going to stay on schedule here on this schedule, how far can we, move this back? Can we put this? I'm assuming, John, when do you want your, you need a contract approved, fairly soon if we're going to be on this schedule, right?
Yes,
Yeah, oh, sorry, I did, there was a supervisor had a question, I didn't,
Could we have an executive meeting tomorrow evening after county board? It's 24 hours enough.
24 hours.
the clerk has to post it, and I don't know if, Jamie is going to like having to run down the hall when.
Well, it's just that it's gotta be posted at 3 separate buildings and there's
Yeah,
nobody at said buildings right now, so.
Okay.
It might be a bit much to expect. I think that we would be better to move to a separate day, just, I know nobody necessarily wants a special meeting, but John, go ahead if you had more to add on that, I'm sorry.
a possible solution for you, if the committee feels strongly that county board approval will come and that the board wants to move forward with PAA, we can start working on some of those products without a signed agreement. So I think one potential solution would be if you took action at the county board meeting tomorrow evening and made it, you approve it contingent upon corporation council approval. That way, if corporation council is fine with that and he signs off on it, then you would not be required to have another meeting.
But it couldn't be,
We still could.
it
we still
couldn't,
wouldn't be able to
it still couldn't, it has to have, it wouldn't be, it has to be properly posted. So it could not be done tomorrow. I mean, we could approve it, we could do one of two things we could approve it here tonight, contingent upon review by corporation council, or we can have a special meeting, special executive committee meeting on Friday morning.
I cannot make that.
Right? Well, what do you want to do here? We can approve it contingent upon review, at a review by corporation council. Problem with that gets to be if he finds, specific things that he would like to see renegotiated or changed, that gets us into a very difficult situation, I think. My opinion on that. I've seen him negotiate, I've seen the corporation council with contracts and, when we start getting into things that are, that should have clarification. it's best to do that, to have, to request those changes or clarifications prior to approval. So that there is a downside to just approving it contingent upon corporation council review. So Thursday night, what time Thursday? No, you can't. Okay, if we meet without you?
Fine with that.
Okay. So is there? It should be brief. Well, as brief as Mr. Temple could make it.
Well, I don't know that I can be here yet Thursday night, but, I would
Okay,
at least be able to let you know whether or not contact. That's,
okay,
that's.
Hey, is that 7?
7 a.m. 7 a.m. on Friday? Supervisor Augustine, otherwise,
Or Thursday after Thursday night works. Yeah,
6 p.m. Thursday, or so.
If that works,
Would,
Dave, you need to be here, as long as you.
As long as the contract is that review, that's very. Question.
What if there are things that you feel need
I
to
can let
be
you know that.
negotiated?
Does this contract have to be approved by the county board?
If it's only 90, it's under 20,000. Under 20, it should not.
So this would come to finance then for final approval of the funding?
Our name, the one who was,
But finance could not amend their agenda at this point.
We're meeting, I think it's on the agenda for 5:30.
Yes, but you can't amend your agenda. This isn't on the agenda. Right?
the financing was.
Yeah, but this is on the agenda for
Financing, yeah.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Financing up to 19.3.
All right, so we can meet 6 o'clock on Thursday evening. And we could get this, should be a very brief meeting, yes? And we can get this approved at that time. So any questions that we have? So
We get a copy of the contract forward to us, please. The supervisor.
yeah,
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
yes, please.
We've been talking about the proposal. So the proposal is one thing, and then there's an actual services agreement for the recruitment. That was also included with the proposal on the very end. It's a 2.5-page document.
Yes,
And I think that's really what you want Corp Council also to be taking a look at, is that agreement. And we would honor that agreement that was included with the proposal. Well, I guess we would honor it fully if the county is okay with the timeline that I talked about, recruitment closing after January 1st.
right. Well, we would have to be okay with that, in my opinion. I don't really like it, but what are you gonna do? I mean, we can't really, we can't not have that honored, I don't think. If they're not comfortable, yes,
Should we withdraw the motion?
yes, we should have the motion, we could either table it until Thursday. That would work. I guess we could, or you could withdraw it,
I can withdraw the motion. Probably cleaner.
yeah, so, okay, so we will get this approved for you on Thursday, John. And so you can start, I guess, getting ready for Thursday. I don't know how much you can do between now and Thursday anyway, but Thursday, as you can see, as you've heard from the discussion, is as quick as we can do it, because we just can't approve a contract you look like a good, honest guy and all, but we can't approve a contract without corporation counsel having reviewed.
Absolutely. We have no concern with that at all.
Okay, so are there any other questions, on this before I move on to,
We are gonna get a copy of the contract.
Yes.
Thank you.
excellent. Any other questions, any other discussion, with anything before, John or,
The only thing that I would add is that I would leave this tonight or tomorrow. You see something, a question about the contract, we will, please let me know, either reach out by phone, get me call, email.
will do?
John, did you want to go through any of the draft that you had submitted, just so the process is laid out for the committee?
I would like to, if I could. So are you taking action on that motion, or was that motion then withdrawn?
Motion was withdrawn and we'll meet Thursday at 6 p.m. After Corporation Counsel has had opportunity to review the contract. And then Thursday evening, we'll approve it, I would anticipate. I can't imagine we wouldn't. And then I can't imagine Corporation Counsel would find anything too objectionable. And then we'll have Ed let you know right away that that has been approved on Thursday.
Okay. All right. Ed, does everyone have a copy of that draft recruitment plan in front of them?
They do.
Okay. If we could just walk through that a little bit, I would appreciate that. And Mr. Chairman, I would also say that if the county is okay with this, we would consider this the initial kickoff meeting. And since we're doing this by Zoom, this would be one of those deducts that Ed had talked about before.
Fabulous. I'm liking you already.
All right. So what I'm
Hold on. We got a quick question here.
Before you hop into that, the kickoff meeting part of that, I guess, do we have the same members here that would be
Oh, yeah,
interested in
the interview
attending that
committee.
kickoff meeting? that
Well,
would
this
be
is
on the interview
executive,
committee?
so
So that may be,
that's another
I
question.
do think this committee needs to know the full process. So
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
value in going through this.
All right.
Yep,
So,
and I had some questions on that too. So so again, we consider this the kickoff meeting. The next section, I didn't put a date in there, but I was talking about as early as November 27th. So either the 27th, 28th, or 29th. I have blocked everything out on my calendars. If we could, the purpose of that meeting then would be to get the approval of all those things in the center column. The approval of the position description, which should be very easy because you already worked on that, recently updated that. The announcement, the advertising plan, the position profile, screening matrix. We just talked about how we rank the candidates that we provide to the committee. I'll get more into that later. And then the remainder of the schedule. So if we really want to keep this process moving, the next meeting is going to be very important that we get all these things approved so that, that the ads are run and all those things. So I'm just wondering is it possible that we can pick either a day or an evening from the 27th, 28th, or the 29th for our next meeting?
So I guess this, Mr. Depo raises a question here. This, the committee, or have a meet with or interview committee? I guess that's
the one point that Ross
I would say,
raised, that the individuals who are here, but here ask those questions, this is being recorded, so the other members could watch the recording.
I would say that we're going to set those dates and executive, it's going to be executive committee and interview committee members would be able to be a part of that. That's what I think. And so my suggestion would be that we set 6 p.m. on November 27th. So 6 p.m. on November 27th, John?
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Fabulous. That was easy. We're rolling right along.
All right, and we will have to make sure that we schedule a closed session portion of that meeting because we will be talking about some of those negotiating issues.
Clerk and Mr. Depot have noted that, so we'll make sure we got the right language.
Okay. And then, so if we meet on the 27th at 6 p.m., the next day we could begin. The next day we could begin running the ads. We'd have everything ready to go. And if you make changes, we can make changes the next day, but we would be ready to start running ads.
Huh?
Then my suggestion is then that the ads would run through January 8th. And we say that because, again, I want to get back to the Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays. Back in the days, if I was looking for a job, it didn't matter what time of the year or day or month or whatever. I'd be out there and I'd be looking. We find that people wait until the last minute when there's vacations. They might consider that their vacation is more important than looking for a new job. So my suggested date is January 8th.
Huh?
If that's acceptable, then by the end of that week, on January 12th, we would provide a written report to the committee that would run down all the candidates for the position. And then the week of the 15th to the 19th would be the next time that the committee would meet, whether it's the executive committee or your interview committee. I would say this, Mr. Chairman, would probably be the interview committee, because this is where we would do where the committee would do the selection of the final candidates and work out the final details of the assessment.
Okay, can we set that one for January 15th at 6 p.m.?
That works for me. I just want to point out, as I did in the information here, that's Martin Luther King Day. I don't know if that matters on your end.
I'll be okay. I'll get my observances done prior so that we can still meet.
Okay, so if we meet then the 15th, I believe is a Monday, if I remember correctly.
It is Monday.
Then I'm flipping the page now. On the back side of the page, the week of January 22nd to the 26th. Now, before we select the date, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about is what we recommend, and you don't have to do it, but I'd say 95% of the recruitments that we do a day and a half assessment. And what that entails is that, let's say it's a Monday and Tuesday, and I'm just picking that, it doesn't have to be a Monday and Tuesday, but let's say it's a Monday and Tuesday. The candidates would arrive around noon on Monday. They would participate in a tour of all county-owned facilities. That would be those tours they would do. Let's say you have 4 finalists. They would be done individually by members of your staff. You would decide who you would want to do the tours. And basically, again, it's just to show them the county facilities. It doesn't have to be all the county facilities, but at least the major ones. We would also then have each of the candidates do a writing exercise, and the writing exercise would be a question that the county would select. We can give you a list of questions that we propose. Sometimes the county will say, well, here's 5 questions. You can pick any one of the questions. Some of the counties will say, no, we want each candidate to answer the same question. So we have them do a writing exercise, and the real purpose for that is to make sure that the candidates actually can write a memo. It's not so much what they say, but that they actually can write. You'll be surprised how often we find individuals that have never written a memo. The third part that we recommend for that day, and it's not necessary, but we think it's also very important, is early part of the evening, or you pick the time. Let's say it's 6 o'clock. From 6 o'clock to 7:30 or 6 o'clock to 8, I think that's plenty long. You would do what we call a meet and greet. And the main purpose for that is The main purpose for that meet and greet is for those members of the county board that are not on the interview or selection committee have an opportunity to meet the candidates. Because otherwise, once the committee makes a recommendation to the county board, you're going to have the majority of the county board that perhaps has not met the individual who they have to then vote on. So we believe that that is a very important part of the process, that you get the buy-in from other members of the county board rather than having them take action on a vote that's extremely important like that. Those would be the activities on Monday. And then on Tuesday morning, we would begin the process of two things going on. Dave Brettel would be there and I would be there. And typically I meet with the elected officials and the candidates, and I stay with the interview committee as they interview each one of the candidates. Dave Brettel meets with the department heads. It'd be department heads as a whole have an opportunity to meet with the candidates one-on-one as well. The department heads understand that they do not get to actually vote on who the administrator is, who he or she is, but we always are able to provide input and feedback to the selection committee as to what the department heads' thoughts were. We never disclose which department head said what. It's just, this is what we were hearing in those meetings. That is the process that we recommend. The day and a half, we call it the assessment. You can go to a one-day assessment, but we really recommend that you do the day and a half. Does that make sense? Does anybody have a question on that process at all?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just wondering, as I look at that, how much time are you going to need from the supervisors on that week in that process?
So typically on, let's say again, as an example, that it's a Monday and Tuesday where we do the assessment, the only requirement, or well, not even a requirement, but we would suggest that the interview committee be there for the meet and greet on Monday. The following day, when you do the interviews and the management meeting, there it depends on how many finalists you have. Let's just say you have 4 finalists and there's an hour each. So if you would begin at 8 o'clock in the morning with interviews or whatever time you want to start, then you've got 8, 9, 10, and 11. That 4th interview would be done at noon. We suggest then that the selection committee, as long as it's still fresh in everyone's mind, that they would meet immediately following that to deliberate and see if they can come up with a preferred candidate. So,
Okay.
so from as far as the requirements for the supervisors, Monday evening for the meet and greet, if they could make it, and then pretty much all day on the day that we do the interviews.
Okay, so we'll set those dates as we get further into this process. I just need to know, and I know some of the supervisors need to know because, you know, some of us are still, have other things during the days, and so I need to be able to. I need a good deal of notice, to be able to schedule chunks of time during the day, and I know some of the other supervisors do as well.
So John, are you saying there's going to be a meeting on the 15th of January? Then the following week there's going to be another meeting?
Yes. So on the 15th of January is when you would narrow down your candidates to the finalists. That would be the main purpose of the meeting on the 15th, would be to narrow down the finalists. Then on the 22nd is when you would actually conduct the interviews and do the meet and greet, the writing exercise, all those other things that we need to do in the process.
What is the time? What was the time that you do on that meet and greet on that Monday? Or if it is a Monday,
The meet and greet time, all this, I'm just giving you examples. You determine the times.
So it's an evening though, that meet and greet, or a late afternoon, or?
Typically it's somewhere between a 4 and a 7 o'clock, usually. It's whatever works out best for the county.
Yeah.
No.
We have a problem on that week?
Yeah.
That week is a problem.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is highway conference. I'm surprised you didn't have that on your schedule, John.
I used to go to highway conferences, but I haven't for the last couple
So,
years.
so
Let me
that's
pull up
something,
a calendar here.
I just want to make sure, then that wouldn't affect the 15th date, but, or maybe it does, because if we, push this back, guys, that pushes everything back, right?
Well, Mr. Chairman, again, let me ask, what were the days of the highway conference?
Tom?
22nd, 23rd, 24th.
All right.
So how about 25th and 26th?
Yeah, 25 and 26 works for me. Let me just say this, Mr. Chair, one thing, and again, because we've done this so many times, we know that this is extremely important. When we get an application from a potential candidate, we immediately follow up with an acknowledgement letter, and we tell them, here's the 2 days when it's going to be necessary for you to be available for Kewaunee County.
Okay.
And they need to put that down well in advance to make sure that if they have travel plans, so if they have any conflicts, so no later than our next meeting on November 27th, we will have to nail down those dates. I don't need them tonight.
Well, let's go with, well, let's get them for you tonight, John.
That'd be great.
Let's go with, January 25th, and let's do that, meet and greet. Let's schedule that for, 4 to 7. Is that about the time frame you needed? How many hours do you need, John?
I would say the meet and greet, not more than an hour and a half.
Oh, well, what kind of time do you recommend for the time on it? Should it be 5 to 6:30, 5:30 to 7? What would you say? Or 5 to, or do you want a 4 to 5:30?
It's what's absolutely most convenient for the board members, and the more board members that you can get there, the better.
With 5:30 to 7. I won't be there quite to the end of that, but that shouldn't matter.
Okay, so
I'll be out of there. I will leave there at 6:30, but others will be there, so that should be enough.
okay, and typically what we do there, and I'm just throwing this out, that, let's say we have 4 finalists, that for the meet and greet, we have every candidate gets up and they give about a 5-minute spiel on their background. Then after that, we might have 4 tables, and one table might be talking specifically on highway issues. Another table might be talking about health and human services type issues, ADRC, child support. Another one could be on economic development, county budget, those types of things. And then the candidates rotate. That's typically what we do at the meet and greet. Usually the county will have, bottles of water and, veggies and dip, maybe pretzels, chips, or something like that. It's more of a social activity, but again, it's the opportunity for the board members that are not on the selection committee to meet the candidates.
Could we make it 5 to 6:30? Would that make a difference? That would work. Let's make it 5 to 6:30, John.
All right.
I'm just playing with time here, that's all. And then Friday, then the 26th, what do we need there?
On the 26th, then the following day is when we would start the interviews. And again, the starting time for that is at the discretion of the county. And that I think will be determined more by how many finalists you have for the administrator's position.
Okay. Now these people will have been in the area presumably the evening before, so we would probably, for their convenience, want to do that in the morning, I would imagine.
Usually we start in the morning, yes.
How about 8 a.m. or in this community? Yeah, 8 a.m. You probably better not drag them out of bed ahead of that. And how long do you feel that, I guess you don't know how many finalists, but it's about 50 to 60 minutes each, correct?
Yes, typically we schedule them an hour apart. We try and have the interviews done about in about 50 minutes. And then it gives the committee a chance, if they have to go make a phone call, check an email, go to the bathroom or whatever before the next interview. So, the final details on that, we've got time yet, but I really appreciate the fact that this evening we can pin down those dates. That will be very helpful.
So I'm just thinking on that, John, I should block off probably at least 4 hours on that.
I would say yes, but like I said, it's if you have four candidates, it would be 4 hours of interviews.
Yeah,
And then we recommend that the committee deliberate immediately after while everything is still fresh in your mind.
I'll just block that day. We're having fun, huh, Aaron?
So this would be the interview committee.
Yeah. Oh, I guess these guys are kind of off the hook on that. Yeah. Interview committee, right. We're having fun though, Gary. Or we will be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what else we need, John?
I think we're good. The next thing would be to schedule a county board meeting, a special county board meeting, if we're successful with the recruitment, and that can be determined, right after the interviews. We don't have to do that this evening. And
Wait on that.
I think that's probably really all that we need to discuss this evening. And I can reach out to Ed if I have some additional questions, or if anyone has questions of us, but we will begin the process. And Ed will have to make sure through you, the Corp Council and whoever needs to see any of the agreements that we have in place or any of the documents, excuse me, that the final piece that I would like to do this evening, if we could, is, Ed, did you hand out the survey?
Yes, they have the survey.
They have the survey. I don't have that up, but let me pull it up. I don't know if everyone had a chance or not to take a look at this, but what we would like to do is, with your permission, is that we provide a copy of this survey to every county board supervisor and every department head. We use this during the recruitment process. We also include, we'll do an analysis that we provide to the county of the feedback that we got from your board members. And then we use that, the highlights of that we can use in the brochure for our marketing. And then, as I was also telling Ed in one of our other conversations, is that if you get, in the end, you're considering candidates and you're not quite sure which one, which one to choose, then we always say, well, let's go back, let's take a look at your survey. From step one, what did we hear? What were the types of personal qualities and what were the skills that you were looking for in this recruitment? So what we would like to do is have you distribute this to the county board and to department heads as soon as possible. And I think, Ed, in the email, I gave you a date when I'd like to have it back so that we can do the analysis on time. But certainly we want you to be comfortable with this, but if you are comfortable with it, we would like to get it distributed as soon as possible.
We have a board meeting tomorrow night, so we could potentially hand out, if you give me a clean copy, we'll get it out.
I can give you a clean copy, and if there are any changes that anyone would like to see, please get those to Ed as soon as possible, and I will provide him a clean document tomorrow.
Okay. And on that, we give them the November 17th deadline, and either they have them in or they don't.
20th, November 20th.
Or November 20th, you were saying? I heard 17th down here. Yeah, it says 17th on here.
Provided surveys are returned by November 20th. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the.
Yeah,
Yeah, 17th is what I have.
Yep.
yeah, 17th would definitely be preferred. Excuse me. And then, Mr. Chairman, I do have one question, and this is in regards to the next meeting. I will be back in Wisconsin. I am more than happy to come back to my home area and attend the meeting in person. I always think that those meetings are better face to face, especially when we have closed session. But I will leave that up to you and the committee as to whether or not you want me to be there in person.
So that was, what was the date on that one?
The November 27th meeting?
November 27th. If you are gonna be in the neighborhood and, you'd like to be here in person, I don't see why we wouldn't want you to be.
Well, that part of the reason I asked that is because that is one of the options for a deduct. So if I were to come in person, it's going to cost you more money. That's what I would recommend. But if you feel comfortable, excuse me, if you feel comfortable with the Zoom meeting, and that we would be doing a portion of that in closed session, we can do it through Zoom if you'd like.
Committee, what are your thoughts? Looks like the committee is happy to do Zoom.
Okay, sounds good. And it probably for the next meeting will probably be Dave Brettel and myself. Okay, we will make a note of that. That will also be a Zoom meeting.
All right. All right, thank you, sir. Anything else for John?
I don't have anything further unless there's any questions.
Does not look like there are. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye now.
Okay. We'll move on to administrator's report. Ed? Well. Do a lot of the work that we put together.
Okay, when we report the personnel report tonight, as you can see, there's a number of listings again, so we've not been short of things to do in this regard. Starting out in the job change, the very first item there, the children's long-term support case manager. If you look down then under recruitment, you'll see the very first position there is it's a long-term support case manager. So that person moved to the social worker in the child and family program. So now we are filling or advertising for that position. The next one is a temporary investigator, just been moved to investigator full-time. The committee had approved that. Radio op jailers, that seems to be a continuing process. And this one here is the person that's going to be cross-trained in both patrol and the radio op jailer positions. Next one, economic support specialist, that would go down under recruitment. You'll see that spot is now being advertised there, the third one listing there. And then the other is the land information person. Going under resignations, the very first one, this was the newest hire that we had in the sheriff's department for the radio op jailer. After a month, the person has left. So we were back to trying to fill that spot. Next, we also have the emergency management assistant has left us, will be leaving us, I should say, on November 17th. Also, as everybody's probably well aware, our highway commissioner is leaving us on December 1st. And finally, one of our patrol officers will be retiring as of January 27th. When you're looking under recruitments, you will see the various positions. I would highlight judicial administrative assistant. There was an offer made there, but the individual in the end did not accept the position, so we're back at it. We've actually we're doing that one on a continuous advertisement until it's filled, I should say. I'm just trying to find somebody that's gonna settle in there. The highway commissioner, even though I know we haven't gotten your approval yet, it's being advertised as well. So, the deadline for that is this coming Friday. As of this point, we don't have any applications for that position. Highway Commission.
Can you repeat that?
We don't have any applications yet. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. As a matter of fact, we did get another resignation today in public health. The a program assistant is leaving us on November 17th. So.
So as highway commissioner, with winter coming, I mean, we need somebody there soon.
And that's why we asked the chairman if we could go ahead and advertise. So that's why we're hoping between now and Friday, we're gonna do some activity there.
I think I made the right call telling you to start very quick.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and that was really the reason why, like I said, winter's there. And there just needs to be more than one person that can make calls on road conditions and things like that, so. Any questions on any of the items on the report?
No, that's all the good news you have.
That's it.
All right. Anything else under your report, Ed?
No, will cover, we covered the position, the county administrator position pretty well. I will probably do that in some little more detail tomorrow evening at the board, so the full board knows where we're standing.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on then to approve updated emergency management assistant job description. You wish to say anything you need to tell us on that, Ed?
Did you give them all a copy of the update?
They all have a copy,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So, not a whole lot was really updated on it, but I did want to update it because it had been a part-time position, is now full-time, has been full-time since the beginning of the year. Just made a few changes where instead of it saying on number 2, the administrative functions, instead of making bill payment authorizations, it was prepared. On number 3, there's a number of equipment that they have to order and maintain. So with that, I added symmetry, so that is something nuclear. On number 4, I added also the handheld monitors and portal monitors, again, as equipment that deals with our nuclear drills and exercises. Number 8, you're gonna see it's crossed out. That is because it essentially was already number 4, where they are, be number 3, where they're already maintaining inventory of supplies. Number 9, assist with public safety and justice committee meetings with records of accurate meeting minutes, so just made it simple as that. Number 11, I added offsite facility plans, some of the other plans that are updated. On number 12, update the emergency operation plan phone list must be done quarterly as specified in the radiological emergency plan program manual. Number 13, assist in the process of any open records requests. Under planning functions, I added assist in continued development of integrated preparedness plan workshop and assist in the update to the integrated preparedness plan. That is something new that the state has added to what is called our plan of work. Support facilitations on number 3 of exercises to include completing required documentation dictated by the Homeland Security Exercise and Evaluation Program. Added that because again, that is something that a state is requiring us to do when we do our exercises. Number 4, assist with preparation. It did say biannual nuclear plant emergency plan exercise. Now, while we do the evaluated exercise every 2 years with Point Beach nuclear plant, Point Beach is wanting to do annual exercise with one of the ones being unevaluated. But regardless, I just wanted to take out the biannual to not have to get that person just every 2 years. Number 8, perform weekly mass emergency communication tests. So every week we do a test with our RAVE system. Again, that is just the mass emergency communication. Number 9, added assist with monthly communication tests. Number 10, added assist with training of communication platforms. Under essential knowledge and abilities, so with being emergency management, they must be able to complete what's called level 1 of the Wisconsin Emergency Management Certification Program. within 2 years of employment. And this does require some travel to complete. A lot of these courses that they can take online, but there's about 3 or 4 that are 2 to 3 day classes that we must take, and they most likely would not be held in one. Number 4, ability to be efficient use of equipment, including computer, telephone, fax, copier, scanner, and calculator. Just added computer to that. Main one on number 18, ability to obtain a passing score. We used to have a typing test. I just took the typing test out of that. Some of it is just correcting typos. Any questions on the update of that job description?
All right, look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the job description as presented.
Supervisor Robin, second. Supervisor Yonke, discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right, so we'll move on to approval of filling vacancies. Highway Commissioner, they've already started advertising. We haven't filled it, so I felt it appropriate to tell Ed to go ahead and start advertising, because obviously, as everybody noted, we have to have a highway commissioner. This is urgent. And then emergency management assistant. So we look for a motion to Supervisor Poppy, second by Supervisor Lukes. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Our next meeting is December.
Mr. Chairman, interrupt for a second. We have vacancy that we have in public health right now.
Oh, yeah,
And it's gonna be basically for your next meeting, you probably get.
yeah, there's no reason we couldn't, Mr. Depo, is there any reason we couldn't get permission to fill that here tonight? I mean, based on the agenda, I think we could. So,
We're filling vacancies. We didn't specifically notice that position being open.
I would say that I will fill that vacancy unless I hear some, or at least I will advertise that vacancy unless I hear any opposition to it.
I would say go ahead and fill it. No, we didn't specifically, but at the same time, this committee has authority to fill vacancies. It's only because we put hiring freeze in place. So really, it would be, I think the committee could do it. I don't know, you want to weigh in further, Mr. Depo, or?
I think,
No, nobody's going to oppose it. We have to fill the position.
right, yeah, we do have to be able to be responsive to positions that are open, seem to be opening with some consistency and somewhat rapidly as of late.
When is our next, when did we set that next executive committee meeting for?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have that was interview committee on,
November 27th.
November 27th. So are you you're going to advertise the position right away, Ed? Would you have any?
There's a chance it'll be filled in January.
Okay, so
So in that regard, what'll end up happening is there'll be another vacancy that'll be created, so we'll need to post that.
well, it's the committee that has the authority to fill the position or to authorize filling the position. The committee is.
Actually, your personnel policy puts that on the administrator's office. However, with your hiring freeze, it throws a little wrinkle in that. And one of the things, I was trying to think about a way that we could be more efficient with this and keep it rolling, because we're talking a month to 6 weeks to fill a position if everything works. And, if it works, that the committee chairman and the board chairman be consulted and go with that in terms of authorization. We're not filling vacancies or filling positions that are not authorized.
I guess that's the question. Is the committee comfortable with what I have been doing? With highway commissioner.
Ed contacted me, about filling it. I got a hold of Dan and said, should we try to fill this? We need somebody in that position.
Video.
So we told Ed to move forward with it. So that's what happened on that one.
I would like to move forward on it, and I'm the chair of the health.
public health. I mean, so, I mean, go ahead, Ed. I mean, as far as it's this committee that put the hiring freeze in place. This committee is saying it's okay to fill it. I mean, we're in a meeting here tonight. I
We,
think we're fine.
could we in the future just take number 10 and move it to approve filling vacancies and just leave it at that? And as
Yeah.
those vacancies come forward
That
to
would have,
executive committee, there may be one night, 5 the next
yeah,
night.
that would have made it easier too if we had just put approved filling vacancies. That would remove any doubt as well.
Just a suggestion, so that the administrator can be responsive to the needs of the county and tackle some of the difficulties we're having with all the positions that are that are opening here. I understand the hiring freeze was put in place by this committee, but I'm not sure we still need a hiring freeze right now. Maybe even as an interim thing.
I think that is entirely dependent, upon communication, what level of communication there is from the administrator.
But I think we're aware of what level of communication we have. It's just a suggestion.
Well, Ed's done a great job, and I don't think that they, what is does the committee want to take up the, addressing the hiring freeze next month? No, okay, so,
That's me.
all right, so. Kevin,
Ask for forgiveness after it's done.
But you could fire me.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, Ed, go ahead and fill the position. And if you want to get the formal official approval of it, next month, just put approve, or on the 27th, put, approve filling of vacancies, just add that to the agenda, because maybe you'll have more by then at the rate we're going.
Please.
I hope not, but this has got to be, all right, so December 4th, 6 p.m. is our next meeting. I would look.
That 27th, is that gonna be just on that one subject?
Yes.
Or several?
We're going to add, it's going to be on that one subject, but before we get into that, we're going to have approved filling of vacancies, just because we're going to have the committee together. And it would be good to, in case we, for one, we can clean this up, and anything else that might need to be addressed in case, Ed would need something there. All right, so December 4th will be our next regular meeting. I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Ron, and second by Supervisor Augustine, all in favor of the motion,